The views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of this station, JVC Broadcasting Management, or its sponsors.
With so many people living longer, the fear of outliving your money becomes a reality for many of us. Will I be a financial burden? Will I outlive my money? How will I be remembered? My name is Neil Himmelstein, president of Main Street Planning Group. Please contact me by visiting mainstreetplanninggroup.com. That's mainstreetplanninggroup.com, or call 631-647-4694. I will introduce you to strategies that will guarantee you will not outlive your money, that can guarantee you will not be a burden on your loved ones. Through a collaborative approach, we will uncover solutions that offer tax-efficient strategies, lifetime income, and legacy planning, choice, organization, direction, and education. That is the code we stand behind. Contact mainstreetplanninggroup.com. That's mainstreetplanninggroup.com, or call 631-647-4694. And listen to me every Friday at 3 p.m. as I host the Main Street Code for Financial Success, right here on 103.9 LI News Radio. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Main Street Code for Financial Success. I'm your host, Neil Himmelstein. I'm here every Friday at 3 o'clock. If you miss an episode, you can always catch me on Spotify or Apple, or go to themainstreetcode.com and pick up the last episode. Always give me a call. Happy to discuss things with you. When we talk about our code, we talk about choice, organization, direction, and education. And we help hundreds of advisors across the United States, whether they're accountants or other financial professionals, as we are an independent wholesaler for life insurance, annuities, disability, long-term care, and life settlements. And if you don't know what a life settlement is, many people outlive their life policy, and rather than letting it lapse and go to nothing, we can help sell it for you. There's a lot of those of you that have permanent policies and maybe have outlived it, or it's becoming more expensive and you don't have the finances to fund it, or it just becomes cost prohibitive, a good option is maybe to sell it and get a lot of cash. And we've done a lot of those this year because a lot of the policies that people took out 20 and 30 years ago, they only expected to live till they were 90 or whatnot, but they're living till 90, 95, 100, and 110. So how long am I going to keep paying for this policy? So a lot of people are saying, hey, you know what, not a bad idea. Let me take a look at it. And what we do is a little different. Is we put companies, there are buyers of these policies, and it's always an institutional buyer. It's not an individual buying. I want to take that fear out of your mind, because it's not an individual waiting for you to die to collect. It's big funds, and they buy multiple policies at a time, and you become one of many. So it's not something you should say, oh my God, well now I got a hitman out to get me because I sold my life policy. It's not the way it works. So, but if you have any questions regarding that, and there's been a lot of TV ads on that, please give us a call. And again, we are experts in that area as well, as it's a separate license that we do besides life insurance and annuities and some of the other things. But today, I really want to focus on, I've been focusing on different, tax aspects, and this Secure Act 2.0 is a very interesting thing, and they've made some revisions to it as to distributions, when you could take money, different things. I want to go over a couple of the different revisions. I did a meeting earlier this week with some accountants and attorneys, and I was surprised to know that a lot of people didn't know all the provisions that affect you, even really good accountants, because there's so many details and so many changes that have come up. One of them is the new RMD ages. RMD is called your required minimum distribution. In our industry, there's a million acronyms, so I wouldn't expect you to know maybe what RMD means. So it used to be, you'd have to take money out at 65. Now, if you're born 1960 and later, you can start taking your retirement money, that's your 401k and your IRA money, you can delay it all the way to age 75. Born between 51 and 59, age 73. So you may not want to take out your IRAs and 401ks because it's taxable, but now you can take it out at a much later date. Now, in your planning process, it's important to know these things. When do I take Social Security? Well, they've also pushed out Social Security so that, it used to be, okay, you'd get full Social Security. Now, the longer you wait, the more you get, but potentially the shorter years you'll get it. So, you can start taking Social Security out at 62, but the maximum benefit, the full benefit, may be like 66 in 10 months. Everybody's a little different, the way they structured Social Security now. So when you're thinking about retiring, or you are retired, when and where what money you take becomes very important, and a very important part of planning. So you need to know the rules. I wouldn't expect anyone to know all the rules about how to maximize what you're going to take out of your 401ks in retirement and Social Security. So, when should I do this? Now, it's not the same for everybody. It's different. So, if you really need the money, or, you may want to start taking Social Security out at 62. If you don't need that retirement money, you may want to delay it till age 70 because it compounds interest. And, what they do is when the inflation rate is high, they give you a big bump in Social Security the next year. That's how they base the indexing they're going to pay you out. I just read an article this morning where the posted inflation rate is 3%. Now, they haven't been posting rates. I think it's a lot more, but this is a way for the government to say, okay, well, we don't have to give you as big a bump for Social Security. So, very interesting things at play here. But, and all these federal things that are coming down, it does affect you when you're in that age that when you're considering things and moving around. And please don't do it yourself. Please call us and ask us so we can guide you through the process of, okay, when's it best to take this? When's it best to do that? Now, I did this whole presentation in front of a bunch of accountants, and I was surprised to know how little some of them did know, because there's two types of accountants. There are tax preparers and there are tax planners. Now, if you're going to H&R Block or one of these places, they are tax preparers. They are not going to help you with your planning. They don't know. And even some great tax planners don't know all the intricacies. And I sat with one-on-one this week about what I do. Like, they don't understand life insurance, for instance. They don't understand the taxation of annuities. Nor should they. I mean, they can't be an expert in everything. And if they try to be an expert in everything, they're going to miss something. So you need lots of elements to your plan. Just a side note here. I'm sorry to get off the topic, but, when I sat one-on-one with this accountant who's a real good planner, a really good person, and really wants to do the right thing by her clients, which is and it's not rare, but you want to find somebody who really cares about you. And I notice a lot of accountants are so busy that you see them once a year, and all they're concerned about is getting you in, getting your numbers, and crunching them, and getting you out. But if you have a really good planner, and she is, it's great to know where they can do. They're limited to what they know and what they can do. But at the same time, she told me something that I was totally astonished with, and I knew it, but a lot of these so-called financial planners who are only involved in investing your money, she says, I can't refer to them because they only want clients with $1 million or $5 million. Well, that's not me, okay? That's not what we work with. We work with everybody. And that's a key thing. A lot of these guys that are doing financial planning, they say, are only interested in gathering as many assets as they can. So if they're very big and they're doing a lot of things, they either have very few clients with a bunch of money, or they have a lot of clients and they're going to focus on the ones with the most money. So, when you're doing insurance planning and everything else, it's not how much money you have, it's protecting what you have and going to the next generation. And very important that you incorporate that element in. I can't believe we're running out of time already. We're going on break, but we'll be right back talking more about the Secure Act 2.0 and more about your finances and how we can help you. Thank you, and if you want to reach me, I'm at 631-647-4694. This is Neil Himmelstein, the Main Street Code for Financial Success. We'll be right back after a short break. Thank you. Welcome back to the Main Street Code for Financial Success. I'm your host, Neil Himmelstein. I'm here every Friday at 3. Before the break, we were talking about some of the changes that the Secure Act 2.0, one of them being new required minimum distribution ages where you can stretch your money out longer before you have to start taking your IRA money. And the only reason you delay it is because all that money is 100% taxable to you. Changes in Social Security, when you can get your max benefit and whatnot, that's always evolving and changing. So that's occurring. So when you apply, depends on your personal circumstances, whether your health is good or bad, or whether you need the money now, or if you can wait and take other assets. It's all a balance of when you take your money and your spending. There's some other things that we had at this accounting meeting that very few people knew about. Something called I'm sorry about the acronym, it's called a QLAC. What's a QLAC? Doesn't that sound funny? QLAC? It's like a duck, QLAC. QLAC is a qualified longevity annuity contract. And one of the things that the Secure Act 2.0 is this started during the Obama administration, where they were going to allow you to take part of your IRA and delay that distribution so that you don't have to take that required minimum distribution, which used to be at 70 and a half. So you could delay it, I think, all the way up to age 85. Now, how do you do it? So now that what they've done, they've increased it. So if, let's say you had $1 million in your IRA or 401k, and some people, that's all they've invested in. They've done great in the market. They've been investing since they're 20 years old, and they have $1 million or $2 million all in their retirement. They're loaded with retirement money. Well, let's say you had $1 million. I like big numbers. Now you can put up to $210,000 in this special contract called a qualified longevity annuity contract. And what that does is, I could take $210,000. Well, let's call it 200. Okay, they're indexing it every year now. But let's say I could take 200 out of that million, and now when it comes to my RMD, with my required minimum distribution, I only have to take out what's required of $800,000 because I've put $200,000 in this side bucket. And this side bucket, this qualified longevity contract, will guarantee an income when I tell it to, whether it's age 80 or 85, and actuarially it's all figured out, and then I'll start pouring on that asset. So this is very important in what I call distribution retirement planning. When do I need the money? When do I want to use that money? And when do I want to be tax efficient? This is long-term planning for your taxes. And why is that important? Everybody talks about diversifying your investments. I like to talk about diversifying your tax classes, your tax assets, because what's taxable and what's not in retirement is so important. Because you may have $1 million in your retirement, but when you touch that money, every penny of it is taxable. When you take those distributions, it affects your income, which affects your Social Security, whether that's taxable or not. If you're taking your retirement plus your Social Security, okay, your Social Security may become taxable where maybe it wasn't taxable in the past. In addition, the amount you take out of your retirement affects something called IRMA, which I've talked about in other programs, which is your adjusted income and what you pay in Medicare, your Part B premium. All these things are at play all at once. So if you're making money, if you're not making huge money in retirement, okay, your IRMA cost may be $190 a month, which is your Medicare Part B. If you're making more money in retirement or substantial, it could be as high as $600 a month per person just for your Medicare Part B that goes to the government. We're not talking supplement, advantage, or anything else. This is just a separate fee that can knock down your Social Security. Now, Social Security has never been adjusted as to how much money you can make before it's taxable. So it's only $44,000 a year, which then starts Social Security becoming taxable. So if you're taking out your IRAs, and even though you're not working, bringing income, but you're taking out a lot of money out of your IRA to support your lifestyle, your Social Security will be taxable. All this comes into play, this required minimum distribution, your Social Security, and your Part B Medicare, as to when you want to take your money, when and if. So a QLAC is a way of delaying some of the required minimum distribution. It's another tool that you need to know about. Another change they made. If you have been contributing to your child's account and they, into a 529 plan, and maybe they didn't go to college or they're not going to college, you can now transfers to a Roth IRA. There are limitations, like IRA limitations, on how much you can move each year to an IRA, a Roth IRA. And why a Roth IRA? The beauty about a Roth IRA, as we said many, many times, is not only does it grow tax deferred, you can take it out tax-free. What a great thing. I love Roth IRAs. As a matter of fact, in your retirement today, if you have a 401k or you're part of a company that has a 401k, you may want to start saving money in a Roth 401k, which has the advantage of, maybe I don't get current tax deductions, but I could take that money out tax-free. It's a great plan. I love it better than 401ks because the 401ks are eventually a tax bomb. Listen, if you need the deductions now, I get it. I understand it. You want to do that. But if you're really making a lot of money, you might want to combine your 401k deductions with a Roth deduction. And your company can make contributions to your Roth. Yes, you will be taxed on that money. However, that money down the road will grow tax deferred and you can take it out tax-free. Now, that's part of the provision. There's another part of the provision which I've talked about endlessly. It's the elimination of stretch IRAs. That used to be a big thing. Stretch IRAs, stretch the money out to my beneficiaries. Now your beneficiaries have to take the money out over 10 years. This could be a big problem for your beneficiaries. If you leave it to a beneficiary, let's say I leave it to my brother or sister, I'm no longer married, I'm going to leave my IRA to them. Well, you may be creating a tax problem for them because all of a sudden they're going to have to pay taxes on that money. It's taxed as ordinary income, and in combination to, let's say they're on Social Security, that could send them into another tax bracket. Or let's say you have successful children and you're leaving behind $500,000 to those children. Well, guess what? They're going to have to take that over the next 10 years. You may turn them from a 22% tax bracket all the way up to a 30-something% tax bracket. So that money you're leaving behind is worth 40% less right off the bat. So you wanted to leave all that money behind, it's worth less. Now, let me just say one thing about Roth IRAs. There's another thing you could invest your money in. It's life insurance. Because like a Roth IRA, it can grow tax deferred and you take it out tax free. unlike a Roth IRA, there's no limit to how much you can put in. Unlike a Roth IRA, it has a death benefit, which is tax-free to your heirs. You can't do that with a Roth IRA. I love Roth IRAs. I love life insurance. I love 401ks. I love Social Security. Everything is a little complicated and complex, which is why we suggest you give us a call to figure out the complicated, and we can give you our code. We can give you the secret on how to make you successful. So if you want to reach me and ask me about any of this stuff, give me a call. Neil Himmelstein at 631-647-4694 or visit me at themainstreetcode.com. Thank you and have a great weekend.
The views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of this station, JVC Broadcasting Management, or its sponsors.